Conway's game of life is a cellular automaton devised by British mathematician John Horton Conway in 1970. The game exists on a two-dimensional grid of square cells. Each cell can be either live or dead. Each cell interacts with its 8 surrounding neighbors. For each generation or cycle, every cell simultaneously updates its state based on how many neighbors it has. Less than 2 live neighbors, it dies, as if by underpopulation. 2 or 3 neighbors, the cell lives on to the next cycle. More than 3 neighbors die, as if by overpopulation. Any dead or empty cell with exactly 3 live neighbors becomes a live cell, as if by reproduction. This is what this program does. Implement these rules to compute one generation after another. In the top section are 5 controls, input elements. The cell size changes cell size. Sorry for tautology. The grid checkbox switches grid lines on and off. Density defines how dense the initial randomly generated cell population is. The cycle time defines how fast cell generations progress. The start button begins the game. If you want to set cells yourself, click on a cell to switch it from alive to dead and vice versa. Now to the code. There are 175 lines of code in total, including HTML, CSS and JavaScript. The commentaries are everywhere whenever possible, so I will stop only at some interesting or maybe a bit difficult moments. I use semantic HTML elements, the header and main. They are block level elements. Instead, they can be div elements with ID or class attributes to select them. But in my opinion, semantic elements are better. They bring some additional sense. The canvas element does not have an ID. A type selector is used to select it. There is only one canvas element, so it will do. The canvas is placed within a main element as a child. The main element has the display grid CSS property to place the canvas in the main center, implementing the place self center property. All input elements are inside the header. Each of them has the autocomplete attribute set to off. This instructs the browser not to store previously stored values, meaning the reload page button will set values to default. The update param function is called by input events from every input element, and an event object is passed to it as an argument. But when the program starts, I need to initialize everything by calling this function, not waiting for any input event. And in that case, no event object is passed to it. That's why the optional chaining operator is used to avoid errors from being thrown when there is no event object. Throughout the code, many times it is necessary to loop through all cells, which are represented by a 2D array of objects. That is a nested loop for columns with a loop for rows. To avoid repeating writing the same code again and again, I use the scan cells function, which accepts any function as a callback function and loops through all cells in a 2D array, calling this callback function for each cell. This way, the code is much more compact. To implement game rules for each cell must be computed number of 8 neighbors around it. This is done by 2 array reduce methods. Comments to the rescue if this concept is new to you. The file location is in the description. I scroll the file now. That's all for now. Have a nice one.